Have you ever frozen and panicked during an interview? It's a terrible feeling, but I promise you, you can recover from it. Hi, everyone. I'm Emily, the Career Catalyst. I think we all know that feeling of just panic and discomfort and just freezing during an interview. But the good news is there are lots of ways to get around this, and I'm going to walk you through a few of them right now. So before I get to that, I just want to say that part of the issue with this is that when we're really nervous, we can kind of spin out a little bit. We get caught up in thinking and panicking and getting really anxious, and that's what causes us to really freeze up in that moment. It's the stress talking, it's not your brain. Now, because of that, it means that if you can make yourself reorient on the present, on what's in front of you, on what's right here and now, you can get out of that panicky mode. There are a couple of very simple ways to do this. The most simple is just to take a second to think about your body. So what you'll do is you'll take a nice deep breath, which is your first step in anything when you're panicking. Take a nice deep breath. And then you're just going to spend a moment thinking, I can feel my feet on the floor. I can feel my butt in the chair. I can feel my back against the backrest. You can also think through, I can feel my hands resting on the desk, whatever it is. But just take that second to do that. Now, if that isn't enough to get you out of that kind of panicky mindset, then what you're going to do is you're going to smile at the interviewer so that they know you're still with them. And then very quickly and without turning your head, you're going to mentally list 5 things that you can see. So you'll kind of take that breath again. I can see my pen in front of me. I can see my notebook. I can see my water bottle, right? You'll just kind of go through your quick mental list. You can do that a couple of times if you need to, but usually the once will just get you kind of reoriented into the present moment. However, because you've had that moment of anxiety, you may actually not remember the question they asked you. And in that case, it is perfectly acceptable for you to ask them to repeat the question. In fact, it's fine to ask them to repeat the question anyway. You're nervous, and sometimes you'll lose the thread of what they asked, or sometimes you'll just not quite be sure about it. So feel free to say, I'm so sorry, could you please repeat the question? If you would prefer to, you can give a little bit of context. So, for example, if it was a 2-part question and you've forgotten the second part, you'll say, I feel like I answered the first part of your question, but I think there was a second part. Would you be kind enough to repeat that for me, please? Or something like that, words to that effect. So going through that is really going to help you kind of calm down in that moment and feel like you're actually there, able to answer their questions. Now, if the reason that you got so anxious was that the question was kind of a curveball, you can just give yourself a second to figure out why they're asking you that. I know that there's a lot of information floating around online about interviewers asking gotcha questions or the questions are meaningless or whatever. By and large, though, I can assure you that that's not true. It's not to the benefit of the interviewers to ask you questions that don't tell them anything about you. So usually they're going to ask questions for a real reason or a set of reasons. So if you've gotten a weird or surprising question, you're not quite sure how to answer it, give yourself a second to think about why they're likely to be asking you that. And honestly, your best guess is fine. So for example, if they say something like, why are manholes round? Your initial reaction might be, oh my God, why are they asking me that? I have no answer to that, right? Normal. However, once you get over your, oh my God, I have no answer for that kind of reaction, stop and think about it. Okay, why would they ask me this? Oh, you know what? I bet this is a question about what my logic is like. I got it, right? And from that basis, you can answer the question. Now, that may not be exactly what they're looking for when they ask you an odd question like that, but it's going to be very close. So feel free to just sort of relax a bit into your answers for those questions. Your best guess about why they're asking you something is as good as the actual reason for it. And it will give you a framework for your answer so that you don't just say something that feels kind of goofy to you after the fact. And you feel pretty confident that you've done your best in the process of this interview. So I hope that information is helpful. Please let me know if there's anything else I can do to answer questions you have about the interviewing process and so forth. And I will see you back here soon.